Welcome to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter board game review. Today we're reviewing a game by Apollo. It's called British vs. Pirates. This is a strategic ship battling game where players use cards to support their actions, sail around, and try and blow up each other's ships. This is for 2 to 6 players, about 45 minutes, and for players 13 and up. Let's take a look at the game. In setting up British vs. Pirates, first each player must choose their faction, either the Pirates or the British. Once they've done so, they then choose from a list of captains and ships that they choose 2 of in each category. When choosing ships and captains, it's a good idea to check what your captain's ship preferences are, because depending what ships you pair them with, they get a bonus. When choosing your ships in British vs. Pirates, there are 4 things to consider. The first are your cannons. At what range are your cannons most accurate and get to deal the most damage? What is your maneuverability of your ship in both speed, based on wind direction, and in pivoting? And what is the armor rating of each of the 4 sides of your ship, as represented by a die? Your captain's selection adds your ship-to-ship attack and defense to your vessel, your crew morale, and any bonuses you get based on ship selection. One thing I really like about this game is that depending on your choice of captains and ships, you have a wide variety of playstyles that then can change up how the game goes and how you actually decide what you're going to do while you're on the high seas trying to attack your opponents. Also in setup, each player gets a stack of faction cards. From these cards, each player starts with 3 cards, and they will replenish their hand at the beginning of each turn. After players have selected their ships, captains, and drawn their cards, then board setup begins. In setting up the board, the wind vane tile always goes in the middle, and then each player places their ocean tiles adjacent to the wind vane tile. Once you've done that, you place your ships on the board on the outer edge, and then players roll a die. The high die roll decides who actually gets their first turn, or players may instead choose to place the wind vane on the board to then decide wind direction. The turn is made up of 3 basic parts. The first is your setup, where you draw up to your maximum hand size of 3, if you do not have that already, and you improve your morale by 1, up to your maximum as is shown on your captain card. Then you either attack or move in either order. So you can pivot, move, and attack. Movement is the largest self-explanatory in this game. There's pivoting, which determines how far you can turn, and movement, which is how many spaces you can move, depending on which way the wind is blowing your ship. You can do one or the other in either order, but you may not split up your movement with your pivot. In this example, Captain Apollo is going to shoot Captain Demetrius' ship. He is 2 spaces away, 1, 2, and now the parts of the ship he can see are what determines what he can actually shoot at. So the armor on the sides of the ship are much bigger, it's 5 plus a 6, whereas the armor in the fronts and back of the ship are lower. It's whatever your current die is, plus your basic armor rating. In this case, a 7. That means that when this ship, which is 2 away, 2 spaces, may fire 3 cannons and gets an accuracy bonus of 3. That means that you add 3 onto each roll to see if you actually defeat their armor or not. Defeating their armor is as simple as either tying or getting a higher number. Now Captain Apollo is going to roll his 3 dice. 6, a 5, and a 9. Now again, each one gets a bonus of 3. So the 6 actually counts as a 9. That counts as a hit. The 5 will count as an 8, which still luckily gets a hit. And 9, of course the biggest of the 3, is going to, of course, also be a hit. Now these 3 points go off of the armor rating of the front of the ship, so 4 becomes 1. If any side of any ship is ever reduced to below 1, you remove that dice. You then gain whatever that detriment to the ship is. So in this case, ship speed is reduced to 1. You may also lose your ability to shoot cannons from that particular side, or have a pivot reduced to 1. And once a player further attacks that weakened side or front or back, wherever the ship, their structure, which is the heart of the ship, then loses a point for each cannonball that hits it. Until that eventually goes all the way down to 1, and they lose that, and that ship sinks. Players may also spend morale points they've been accumulating on their captains to play cards that then either add bonus accuracy, extra damage, increase speed, or even repair their ship. The other option for attacking players may choose is called boarding. And this may be an option that's selected more often when players are faced with armor that is much higher on the sides of the ship, and that's their only valid target for the cannons. To board, the attacking party looks at their grapple number and adds that to their crew morale. The defending party looks at their repel number and adds that to their crew morale. Each player then rolls a dice. In this case, I don't think the boarding party can be successful. We have a 0 plus a 3 plus a 6, so we have a 9 for defense. Over here we have a 2 plus a 3 plus a 1, so we have a 6 for the attacking party. Unfortunately, the attack was not successful. Attacking parties actually get the advantage though, because they often win in a tie, and the bonus to this, besides doing damage to the core of the ship, the core of the ship would lose, should you be successful, 1 point of structural damage, and the crew morale is automatically then dropped to 1, the maximum number you can actually go down to. There are two other things to consider when performing your move and attack actions in the game. The first are obstacles. You may not sail through obstacles and they affect line of sight, so they will affect your ability to shoot and affect your ability to move in a particular direction. The other is the wind. The wind will affect your ability to escape in a rapid manner or not, and to catch your opponents in a rapid manner or not. The game is over when one player manages to sink either his opponent or opponent's ships, and he is the last one standing. Now let's get into what I think of the game. Okay, so this is my take on the game. Honestly, I really like this game. This game's a lot of fun, it's well balanced. There's not a lot I would actually change or update or fix or really tweak, really. One thing that does come to mind, the cards. These cards do some really cool stuff. You can repair your ship, you can add your morale to your company, you can add damage to your cannon shots, you can do all kinds of things, and each faction has one card that then may choose to change the direction of the wind. I would consider maybe updating that or adding a third non-player event deck that then can add perhaps storms or some other obstacle on the board, but more importantly change the direction of the wind, because that is something that can really hinder a player if they get stuck with it against them. I love the theming in this game. As someone who has studied pirates, getting captains like Bellamy and whatnot, actual historical figures, is really cool. It's a really creative way to go about it, even including himself in the game. Very cool. I would do the same thing. It's very versatile. You can change your playstyle depending on the ships you choose, the captains, if you want to go small and fast, big and heavy, some kind of mix in there. It's really cool for how many options it gives you on both sides. It's just in general well balanced. The one little con I can think of off the top of my head would be that there needs to be more distinction between the ships on the board. That does get confusing sometimes. And in a bigger player game, I would consider adding another faction, perhaps the Spanish or the French, what have you, because then it'd be easier to actually play free-for-all rather than just teams, or if you want to break up Brits versus Brits and Pirates versus Pirates, it gets a little confusing then. Overall, though, it's a great game. I really do support it. I encourage you to try and play it when you get the chance, when Kickstarter funds, and get out there and blow the bejesus out of your opponents. This has been another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter board game review. If you like what we're doing, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So make sure to check out our sponsors, everythingboardgames.com and thegiveawaygeek.com. Don't forget to check out our giveaways right now. We currently have 3 up on unfilteredgamer.com. They are Ticket to Ride, a board game movie called Next Great American Game, and lastly, Infection. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Pivoting, and what is the armor rating of your dice? Damn it, that was good too. Yeah. So they draw 3 cards to start the game. These cards will be replenished at the start of each turn.
We'll do that again.
Yeah. Is how many spaces you may turn in the direction you're facing. No, that was crap. Explanatory. Pivot is how many spaces you can... Damn it, no. Movement is large as...
You're not being good, chicken. You're being loud today.
Rah. Rah, 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 rah. Blah, 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 blah. I'm talking louder. I'm talking quieter. Can Mike still hear me? I'm being weird. I'm just talking because I'm talking. I don't know what else to say. I'm talking normal. This is how I normally talk. This is what would be considered normal when I'm talking.